And we are live with another edition of the All Gas No Break Sports Show. I am one of your co-hosts, Nicholas Pavona, joined alongside, as always, by my co-host, Andrew Johnson. And Johnson, it's been a little bit of time since we talked about the National Basketball Association, but with the NBA All-Star Weekend about to take place this upcoming weekend, the first half of the NBA season has come to a conclusion, and it's been a very interesting NBA season so far, to say the least, going in to the second half of the season. Of course, the trade deadline just took place last week. Some interesting trades, to say the least, as well for those. We go into the All-Star break with a couple of surprising teams in the playoff race. Some teams that maybe you and I had thought maybe could make a playoff push this year, really not even in contention whatsoever going into the second half of the season. But the funny thing about that trade deadline is, and we'll talk about this later, some of those teams that weren't in playoff contention this year made the biggest moves at this year's trade deadline, looking forward to next season. And I feel like one of the themes for this season that's currently going on in the NBA is you have your top heavy teams in both the Eastern and Western Conference, but the teams that are realistically saying to themselves, we don't have a chance to make the playoffs, they're in tankathon mode right now. They're pretty much trying to battle out for some of the top picks in the NBA draft. And you can't really fully blame them because there's a lot of great talent in this year's NBA draft upcoming this summer. But let's just say a couple of teams got fined yesterday by Adam Silver for intentionally sitting players on purpose. So
Yeah, I'm
it's been
glad
that
you
kind of
said
a
that.
season.
I'm glad you said that because they're suspending, not suspending teams, but they're
Fining.
fining them,
Yeah.
fining them pretty greatly. And Adam Silver finally realizes that NBA regular season's a joke. As a Knicks season ticket holder, there's absolutely no reason for me to even attend a game until the late March. It means absolutely nothing for the first 5-6 months of the season, and the teams aren't even trying. So why am I even gonna spend my money at this point? If the
Right.
teams aren't gonna try, why should I even show up at this point?
Because you look at the NBA draft upcoming too. You know, you have guys like Darren Peterson when he plays, because you know what his story's been. We'll talk about college basketball a little bit in the next couple weeks. You have Cameron Boozer, AJ Dybensa, Caleb Wilson, Kingsley Flemings, Keaton Wagler, just to name a few players that are coming in this draft. And I feel like that's been like one of the synopsis for the season in terms of the teams that have been bad. Yes, they're trading for talent for next season, but they're also trying to tank this season so that they can get one of these top 5-6 players in the upcoming draft and then establish themselves as a team to be watched out for in the 2026-27 season next year.
You know what the crazy thing about this draft is too? There's gonna be guys that fall outside the lottery where if they were a weaker draft, they'd be consensus top 5 picks.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, think of a weak draft, right? Think of 2000. Think of like 2000, maybe 22, 2021. Not particularly strong drafts, right? Right?
Yep.
Yaxel Lendenberg, he'd be top 5 that draft.
Oh yeah, 100%.
He's it. Bennett Sturts, the point guard from Iowa, who who very well may break the all-time assist record in college basketball, a record that we thought was going to be impossible to break, only because of the standings around it. He might break it, and this guy, he's probably going to go maybe somewhere between 20 to 25 in the draft as it currently stands. You'd even have guys in the early second to mid second round picks, guys like Zuby Ejiofor, JT Toppin, Braden Smith. Those guys would be late first rounders in a weak draft. So there's a lot of talent in this draft from top to bottom. And I can see why they're tanking. I totally get it. But something's got to give here.
It's definitely hurting the
they
sport.
changed. They already changed the draft rules where it's not so top heavy anymore. It's not an instant, give me if you get the number one overall pick or the number one overall draft dogs. Excuse me, it's not like a give me anymore.
Right.
There's more balance to it. Matter of fact, the last I think 5 or 6 number one draft odds did not even land in the top 3.
I mean, look at last year as a clear evidence. I mean, Dallas was the last team out of the playoff, or they were in the play-in, and then they got the number one overall pick.
Yeah, a lot of people are mad about that, but I'm going to say, tank. Don't tank anymore.
Yeah.
Like, if you're going to purposely sit guys out like the Indiana Pacers are doing, oh, yeah, they're all fine to play this one night, and then on the second night back-to-back, well, actually, 8 or 9 guys aren't good, and you still win anyway? That's karma.
Do you think they'll ever go back to the old days where every team had the exact same odds? because of what's happening right now with tanking?
I think they can go back to it only in the case of Adam Silver actually takes it seriously. To me, Indiana shouldn't have gotten fined. They should have gotten the draft pick taken away. I would come down hard on these teams. Teams that are doing that, like that is just an absolute mockery to play 8 guys and then just bench them, effectively bench all of them because none of them had problems. They're going on the injury report with BS injuries. No one wants to watch the game. And you wonder why ratings are down.
Yeah.
These guys want to get paid to play. They need to have good TV ratings. That's where the money comes from contracts. And
they're
if
a prime
people aren't
example
watching,
because they traded
it's not going
for
to go up.
They traded for Vika Zubac, who was one of the
Yeah,
more
he was fine. He's been playing the entire season.
Deadline, and they sat him immediately with a injury, quote unquote. So
and Jaren Jackson Jr. The same thing's going on in Utah.
Yep. I know. Listen, we don't.
It's crazy.
We're not fans of Trae Young, but like immediately as soon as he got he was injured before he got
Anthony
traded.
Davis. And Anthony Davis
too, yeah. And they both got traded. They're immediately ruled out for the Washington Wizards, who they're both now on. It's such a weird cycle right now that's going on in the NBA with these trades that have been happening.
And it's crazy because Anthony Davis and Trae Young, that you're fighting for a play-in spot.
Yeah,
that is minimum top 10 seeding.
Yeah.
So why aren't you playing right now? Because the Knicks have your rights? Is that why you're doing it? And it's going to convey into 2 second-round picks if it doesn't convey this year?
Yeah.
If I'm Adam, listen, the same nonsense happened to the Mavs pick a couple of years ago when the Mavs tanked a couple games at the end of the season so the Knicks wouldn't get their pick. This is the second time as a Knicks fan where we have other teams' draft rights and they're tanking and nothing's happening. Even when we're not in the draft, we get screwed with the draft. So if I was Adam Silver, if you own someone's draft rights like that, I'd just give it to the other team. Like Milwaukee's starting to play with that now too. If Milwaukee, I think they have I think it's next year though, but they have the pick swaps.
Yeah.
If Milwaukee tries this next year, I would take it away from them.
Yeah, and you never know, they might, because they obviously didn't trade Giannis Antetokounmpo at the deadline. We don't know what his stats is going to become this upcoming summer. You have to think that maybe the trade talks might intensify because his contract is coming up soon. But that was the biggest news going into this trade deadline that just happened, and he never got moved. The biggest move that did happen was the James Harden trade, which we'll break down later. But like you said, there's definitely something that they have to fix about the tanking aspect, because there's been some great basketball that's been played these first couple months of the season.
Absolutely.
And the records for both these conferences really show it. But an image like this of players being sat down for quote unquote injuries when they're not injured really does hurt the sport in the grand scheme of things. So they have to find a way to make sure that this isn't, something that is the NBA synonymous with. Like, this cannot be a thing that happens for years and years to come.
And college basketball is coming too. They're competing now. There's no more wrestling on Fox now. So they're in the prime time. College basketball has been put in the prime time. That replaced Friday Night SmackDown, which would get around 2.5 million viewers, depending on the episode. Let's say 2.2, 2.3 on average. Sometimes higher, sometimes a little bit lower. And now you have games getting like 1.5, 1.6 million college games. Games that if they were on Fox Sports 1, okay, you get 200,000 or 300,000 people to watch it. No, you get millions of people to watch Friday Night College Basketball. And they're realizing now that the regular season college basketball product is way superior. I'm not saying postseason. I'm not saying the NBA postseason.
Right.
But regular season, you might as well just shut the NBA off and watch college hoops. And a lot of people are figuring that out right now.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because in a couple weeks' time, you and I will be talking about this college basketball season. I think it's arguably one of the best college basketball seasons we've had in recent memory. There's been so many great games, a lot of teams that could make a case to win a national championship this season. And it really ties into the NBA season because of some of the top-tier talent we're seeing in college right now. They can instantly become top-tier talent in the NBA going into next season. It's that stacked of a draft that's upcoming, and that's just showing why college basketball has had a really strong year.
You have top 10 Michigan State versus Wisconsin. Big game on Friday night in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Happening right now in an hour. We're recording this at 7 o'clock right now. And I guarantee that's going to outdraw the All-Star Weekend right now. At least the Friday night portion of it. It's going to outdraw it. Because no one cares anymore.
No one's watching that. To be fair, no one watches that anyway.
No,
But
fake.
we will
Uh,
talk about the rest of the All Star festivities later on in the show. But
NBA
before we do that,
right
Johnson, let's
right
break
now.
down the first half of this NBA season for the Eastern and Western Conference. And you look over, we'll start for the Eastern Conference. It's been a remarkable season for the Detroit Pistons to start off this first half of the year. They're the only Eastern Conference team going into the first half, or going into the second half of the season with 40 wins. They have not won 40 games before the All Star break since they went back to the Eastern Conference Finals. I think that was 2008. I don't. You correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if the
That
exact
is
year. I just know
2008.
it was 2008. Okay, just wanted to double clarify that. Been a great year. Kate Cunningham obviously has been tremendous for this team. He is an MVP candidate right now. Probably not going to win it because of guys like SGA and Jokic above him, but he's had a tremendous season for this Detroit team. You know, you're seeing all around what this team was. You know, what this team could become last season. They've taken it up a further step this season, and with the way the Eastern Conference is right now, I mean, this is a great opportunity for Detroit to maybe get back to the NBA Finals for the first time since they won it back in 2004.
Yeah, and I had said Detroit would be a top three seed or had the potential to be a top three seed, so I'm not that surprised. I am surprised by 40 wins.
Yes.
And we're gonna talk about the Phil Jackson rule here. 40 wins before 20 losses is the key to a playoff winner. Something crazy like 90% of winners since I guess in the last 45 years have fit that mold. So since the early 80s, 40 of like the 44 champions or 40 or 45 champions have fit that mold so far. And the only
Yeah.
teams that kind of fit that right now, it's Detroit, it's Oklahoma City, and San Antonio has the potential. They need to win 2 games before they lose 4. And
Right.
the Boston Celtics need to win 5 before they lose 1. So the Celtics need to go on a 5-game win streak for it to happen. And San Antonio can lose 3 games, and they just need to win 2 before they lose 4. So
And speaking of the Celtics, you mentioned them before. They are the number 2 seed in the Eastern Conference right now, despite the injuries. You know, not having Jason Tatum this right now in the season. He's hopefully trying to track to make it before the postseason begins. So we'll see if that comes to fruition. They made a very interesting move with the trade deadline that I really liked. And as a Knicks fan, I obviously don't want to see Boston making big moves like this. But getting Nikola Vucevic from the Chicago Bulls when the biggest issue for the Celtics going into the season was at the center position, that was a really big move for the Celtics team going into the second half, and they've got potential where if Tatum comes back from injury before the playoffs, they're going to be a really really scary team come
so
postseason
Nick,
time in the
I
East.
love Vooch. I've said it a million times. I said that he should have been a multiple time All Star, especially when he was down in Orlando. He didn't get any recognition when he went to Chicago.
Hmm.
I just don't think he's gonna be that effective as a Celtic. He's coming off the bench right now,
Right.
and he's not a great defender. He's over the hill when it comes age wise. He's gonna be 36 years old at the end of the season. How much more does he have left in the tank? If this was like 2019, this would have been an absolute no brainer move. He would
Yep.
have been great. He would have been a double machine. He'd be able to defend a lot better than what he's doing right now. But I think it's just his age is kind of catching up with him. He's a great 3-point shooter. Don't get me wrong. But that defense he's going to have, especially when you have a guy like Mitchell Robinson match against him, who's really great, a great perimeter defender now. He's not going to be able to do anything come postseason wise. You have if Mitchell Robinson stays healthy and out of foul trouble, and he's been doing the latter, he just needs to get healthy now. And I think as the season goes on, but keeping him out from those back to backs, there's gonna be real problems in the center position for Boston still because Cat is an offensive monster. He's not having a great season, but defensively, Robinson will have his number.
Hmm. And speaking of Cat and Robinson, let's give our say of the Knicks going into the second half of the season. They're 35-20, just a half game back behind Boston for that number 2 seed. A really strong start to the year. They won the NBA Cup, and then things kind of turned the wrong way for them after they won the NBA Cup. They went on a bit of a losing streak. They've then since they've rode the ship off and have started to play a little bit better as of late. What is your stats for this team going into the second half? They obviously made the move for Jose Alvarado, which you and I both love that they got him.
Don't
A
forget
guy that
about
we've
Jeremy
been,
Shohan too.
yeah, Jeremy Shohan just as of yesterday, signing with the Knicks after he got cut by the Spurs. So the Knicks adding some defense to their already strong unit that they really kind of needed over these last couple games. And we've seen some flashes from Alvarado his first 2 games as well from the Knicks in terms of scoring as well. So what's your take on the Knicks going into the second half?
Yeah, listen, I'm a big fan of Jose Alvarado. I've said it for years. Whenever he was at Georgia Tech as well,
Yes.
I want him as a high schooler. I want him at St. John's because he was a local kid from Christ the King, unheralded recruit too. I think he was a fringe 4-star recruit. You don't quote me on that. I know he was under recruited because let's face it, 5'11" point guards from New York City are a dime a dozen. All of these guys coming out of New York City really don't know how to shoot because when they play around here, when they play on the on the courts outside here, they don't call fouls. So they go to the rim. So if you get fouled on the 3-pointer, you're not getting shooting free throws on the outside. You're not shooting free throws on the corner. Maybe inside the gym you are, but on the corner where a lot of these guys play, not going to happen. On the courts outside, so a lot of these guys become maestros of passing the ball. They work hard on defense. They have a really great motor, but their shooting is lacking. But Jose Alvarado, he's got all those. Plus, he's got a deadly 3-point shot, which we saw when went for 8 3-pointers in his debut in Madison Square Garden. Or was it the second game in Madison? His second game in Madison Square.
Yeah,
in
it was the Celtics game, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes, it was. That was the second game in MSG because the first game was into the Pacers and the Magic, whatever, yada yada. But yeah, Jose Alvarado out of high school, he wasn't even one of the best guys in the state. When you want to think about it, I want to take you back to 2017 for a second here, Nick. And we actually St. John signed the guy that was higher than him on the recruiting chart here. Remember Sidney Wilson?
The name does ring a bell. Yeah.
So he came to St. John's for a cup of coffee when he went to UConn, whatever. Want to hear a list of guys that were ranked higher than him out of New York State?
Go ahead.
So we have Sidney Wilson, Andrew Plattick, who went to North Carolina. I have no idea what happened to him. Mamadou Decore, who went to Rutgers, did not. He was a 6'8" center out of Center Reach, out of OSL. Or, I'm sorry, OSL, excuse me, or Our Savior New American, excuse me, not Our Savior Lutheran. Didn't really do anything in the NBA. Isaiah Washington, remember Jelly Fam?
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. Jordan Noir went to Louisville. Nothing. Brandon Randolph. Nothing. Amir Wright. Nothing. Nick Richards, right? Nick Richards.
Yeah.
He's available. He's in the NBA. Is he better than Jose Alvarado? Nope. And of course, everyone's favorite Mo Bamba.
Ah, yes. Good old Mo Bamba.
So there were a lot of guys here, that were, and these were guys that went to high majors too. So Louisville, Arizona, Kentucky, Texas, North Carolina. Jose Alvarado, he had a couple offers. I think his final three were, Rutgers, Seton Hall, and Georgia Tech. He goes to Georgia Tech. He makes his own story there. And hey, he's in the NBA now, and he's thriving. So I'm very happy to have him. I feel like this is kind of like a similar to the Josh Hart trade, where it's just something where you just knew immediately, like, oh, this is great.
It's not the splashy move. It's a move that
it's the right move. It's for the culture
that could gel the team together in another way.
I wanted two guys. I wanted Jose Alvarado. I wanted Jeremy Sohan. And when we got Alvarado and we didn't get Sohan, I was like, all right, we got one. And then we got him on waivers. So we pretty much got Jose Alvarado and Sohan for
nothing, really, because they traded was Yabusele to get
Yabusele. And by the way, Yabusele reworking his contract for him to get a new lease on life, and we get out of that second year.
Yeah.
A lot of respect for him. He's going to be listen, New York Knicks fans are crazy. We've seen it. We've met a lot of them in person. Zach Randolph came back for a signing recently. We had
Gallinari.
Who was it again? Gallinari. Guys that had a cup of coffee in New York, but the fans love them. They line up for them. They want to speak to them, and it's nothing else. I guarantee you, if the Knicks do anything good, if they make a run for the finals, if Knicks fans will recognize Yabusele, right? And they'll be cool with him on New York. He won't have to pay for a cup of coffee or a meal or a beer in this town.
Well,
I guarantee if they go something deep, if they do a deep playoff run, and it's going to be on the backs of these guys.
He might need to lose some weight before he gets paid for meals.
All right.
Listen, that was just a common. That was a shot, but it was just a common, thing that was being said by New Yorkers while that was going on. Anyway,
we talked about Cleveland.
Yeah, we talked about Cleveland. They obviously got James Harden and the Darius Garland swap. That was the biggest trade of the entire deadline. Toronto, by far, to me, I think has been the biggest surprise in the Eastern Conference this season. You had them as a play-in team probably for this
I
upcoming
did.
season,
I'm at like an 8 seed.
but they're the number 5 seed in the Eastern Conference right now. It's been a tremendous season for
Yeah,
Toronto.
you know when you take a look at their roster too, it makes a lot of sense. They have too much talent for them to fail. When you think about
Yeah,
it, think about this for a second. They got Brandon Ingram, they got Scotty Barnes, and they got R.J. Barrett. Those are three very talented forwards. I know they're
and
playing
Ingram
Barrett more
now
at the shooting
in the
guard.
All-Star game.
Yeah, no, it is, and Barrett, he's having a great year too.
Yeah,
You know what he missed in New York? He wasn't efficient in New York, and he's the third option. He's a little bit older now. He's 25. And he's efficient now. He's scoring 18 and he's doing like 18 and 6 on like 48% from the field. And he's a decent 3-point shooter. And his free throws aren't miserable anymore. He's like a respectable free throw shooter, still a little bit below average. And he's really elevated his team. And Quickly, who's had a very bad start to the year, now is he worth $30 million? Absolutely not.
no.
But as a starting point guard, 17 and 6, move the ball, great 3-point shooter, reliable at the line. That's exactly what you want.
And I think that was when that trade with OG Anunoby went down originally, you and I were both distraught about it because we knew RJ
For
eventually was
about
going to
30
fight.
seconds.
Right. I was still. It was a tough pill to swallow at first because we knew the potential for RJ was there, and we just didn't. We
But
weren't
we
obviously
knew
going
it
to
would.
fortunate to be able to see it
The thing was
firsthand.
with Quickly was we were never going to pay him that money.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
when we dumped Quickly, and I don't want to say dump him because he's a great player, we were never going to give him $30 million. And if we did give him $30 million, we had RJ Barrett. Let's face it, the Knicks are probably a
There's guys
play-in
on the
team
roster
right now.
that they wouldn't be able to get.
Yeah, no, Alvarado would not be there right now. They'd be the entire bench would not be there right
No.
now. So it was the right move for that. Listen, if RJ Barrett and Quickly make All-Star games, which I'm rooting for them, maybe next year they will. Sounds like they want to trade Quickly, but he's a great guard.
Yeah,
He doesn't really turn the ball over a lot.
I'd be surprised if he's a Raptor next year.
But yeah, it made sense it made sense, even though it was shocking. And they have a new lease on life. And don't forget, they got Grady Dick and Jacoby Walter off the bench too.
Yeah,
they're having a great year.
No, they by far to me are the biggest surprise in the Eastern Conference. I know the obvious answer could be Detroit, but I think people saw Detroit was making that next step from what last season was. I don't think anyone expected the Raptors to be a top 5 seed going into the second half of this NBA season.
And it's very young players too off the bench, kind of like us. Like they're holding the second year. Then now they're not scoring a bunch, but they're keeping them afloat.
Does it feel like the early stages of the Knicks in a way where like a team that doesn't look like flashy on paper, but they're like doing it some way?
Yes, but they need to have a big trade, and I think their big trade is I think they're going to have to either they're not going to give up Scotty Barnes.
No,
they're going to have to probably trade Ingram and probably Quickly to get a stud. Listen, it's very they can trade for Giannis.
Yeah,
they have the salary, they have the picks, and if they give him Quickly and this is going to sound quickly. This is going to sound crazy. Quickly, Barrett, and picks for Giannis, and just get a little bit more salary fill in there to make it match.
That's possible.
It could happen because Giannis, he's an international guy to begin with. I don't think he would mind. You slide him right in there at power forward, move Scotty Barnes down one.
Yeah,
makes sense.
And the funny thing about what we talked about earlier with the teams tanking and making some of the biggest moves at the deadline, remember the Raptors did that last season with Brandon Ingram. They traded for him when both them and the Pelicans were not making the playoffs. They got Brandon Ingram in that trade, and looking towards to this season and maybe making that next step, it's worked for them. So maybe that's why a lot of these teams did that, because they're seeing what Toronto is doing right now and saying, okay, if we trade for these players and look towards next season, then who knows? We might be a playoff team, a top 5 seed in our respective conference. So maybe that's the reason why we're seeing a lot of these teams making some of the bigger moves at the deadline. So maybe that's the catalyst for it. The rest of the Eastern Conference follows. The 6th seed is the Philadelphia 76ers. And then the play-in teams, you have the 7th seed Orlando Magic, 8th seed Miami Heat. The hottest team in the NBA right now, surprisingly, the 9th seed is Charlotte Hornets. And then the 10th seed Atlanta Hawks after the dealing of Trae Young. You look at the rest of the Eastern Conference, obviously, Milwaukee probably the biggest letdown of the first half of the season. It's been a rough year for them. Were there any other biggest surprises or letdowns for the Eastern Conference you could think of before we move on to the West?
Yeah, I want to talk about the Magic for a second here. We really thought they were going to take the next step here, and again, they're 28-25, and they're leading the Southwest or Southeast division, excuse me. But
Mhm.
it's a pitiful division, so by default, they're going to beat up on a lot of bad teams. Uh, let's talk about them for a second. Paolo Banchero. So I saw a tweet yesterday. This isn't my original thought, but it does make a lot of sense. Cam Thomas got cut for putting up empty stats on a bad team,
I'm
where
Brooklyn, yeah.
Paolo got paid a max contract for putting up empty stats on a bad team. And it's draft pick bias. That's the crazy thing. Because Paolo, he's had a lot of potential. He's averaging 20 points a game right now. His 3-point shot's really not there. But it's 5 years in the NBA. This is year 4 for him in the NBA. He's got to be better. And he took such a step back offensively that you have to kind of question him going forward right now. Is he the
And
next LaMelo Ball in the sense of,
yeah,
the Magic are going to get a better pick this year and someone's going to take over like Con Knuppel just did in Charlotte?
yeah.
It's very possible.
And you gotta keep in mind, this is a team that traded 5 first-round picks to get Desmond Bane in the offseason. So, like, they have to make this work because there's not really much draft capital they have the next couple of years to do anything. So, this has to
And listen,
work.
on
But you're right.
paper, it's a great team.
Yeah, on
Suggs,
paper, it
Bane,
looks good.
Wagner, Boncaro, Carter. This should be a top 4 team in the East.
If you're
They
playing
should be
NBA
looking to go to the
2K,
semifinals, maybe the
absolutely.
finals.
I don't know what I couldn't tell you what the exact reason is.
And even their bench is great too. They've got
I
Goga.
think-
And even though Goga's not getting a lot of minutes, you got Goga as your third string center.
He's their leading
great.
blocker right now. I think it comes down to the
there's-
defense. I think if you look at the defensive stats in the year, I think that's the biggest reason why they're going into the second half of the season with the differential of minus 0.1, which is not a big number, but it's showing that they've had off nights offensively, and when they do have the big nights offensively, their defense kind of struggles. So that's probably the reason why they're in the state that they're currently in right
These
now.
are also mainly a bunch of young guys too. I mean, Desmond Bain might be the vet on this team. Him or Mo Wagner may be the vet. Maybe
Yeah,
Wendell
which is
Carter.
kinda
Is
crazy
Wendell
to think.
Carter your vet here? Is he the oldest guy in the locker room? I think it may be Mo Wagner. If Mo Wagner's your
I will tell you right now, their oldest player on the roster is Javon Carter at 30 years old.
all right, well, Javon Carter's not playing, so
If we're going basically strictly off of who guys who are playing, it's Mo Wagner.
it is.
At 28.
Yeah. So like it's Mo Wagner right now. That's your vet. That's really your veteran presence in the locker room.
Jonathan
So-
Isaac's still here. Holy man.
Jonathan Isaac, he had a lot of potential. He's been really lit up by
Never
injuries.
stay
It's
healthy.
unfortunate. Yeah, he's almost in the NBA for 10 years now.
I know,
Crazy
it's
as that
crazy to
is.
think. That is wild to think that that's the case. But yeah. Any other things stand out to you in the East before we move on to the West?
Yeah, Brooklyn still thinks they own the Knicks' future, and while they do own the
Wow.
future, they're not gonna do anything the next couple of years. The Knicks just have to get to 2029. If they could be coherent for the next 2.5 seasons, it's a successful trade. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah.
They gotta make it to
Nets
2029.
fans obviously gotta be irate. They didn't get anything from Cam Thomas. The deadline, they let him go for nothing.
No one wanted
so,
him.
Yeah.
It's not like he was making a ton of money.
No.
Not a single team wanted him.
It was the asking price. That was the problem. They wanted too much for him.
And now they didn't get anything. They could have
And he's
easily
doing
said,
pretty
"Hey, we'll
good on
take one."
Milwaukee's
They could
still.
say, "We'll take one first round pick."
Yeah.
One first round pick would have been better than cutting him.
Yeah. And like I mentioned, he's thriving in Milwaukee so far off the bench. He's doing pretty good for them. So we'll see. In the Western Conference, the reigning champion Oklahoma City Thunder go into the second half of the season with 42 wins and 14 losses on the season. It's been another strong year for the Thunder this year, Johnson. But they seem to have an Achilles heel right now in the Western Conference, and that is the San Antonio Spurs. They can't seem to beat them right now this season. I think they're 1-3 or 1-4?
1-3 against them.
Yeah, they have been struggling
I
mightily
love
against
how
the
you mentioned
Spurs.
that too, because I'm a big believer in the Spurs. They got a great team. Victor Wembanyama, even though he is only 21 years old now, is he 21 yet?
Yes.
He's 21. Okay, so he can legally drink beer in America. So he can legally drink. No, he's 22.
He's 22.
He just turned
All right.
22.
22. He just turned 22.
At the ripe age of 22, he's putting up 25 and 11.
Yeah, he's insane.
Multiple blocks a game. Call it 4 stocks. So call it 22, 11, 4 stocks. he's had his health scares too. He needed being
Yeah.
7'4". You got to be careful. You can't. And they got a lot of young talent. Stephon
Aaron
Castle,
Fox having
De'Aaron
an
Fox,
all-star year. Yeah.
Julian Champagnie, Dylan
Yep.
Harper off the bench, where a lot of people saying that was a mistake, but that is the perfect guy for this Spurs team off the bench.
Harrison Barnes,
And
a nice vet off the bench too.
Because Harper, 6'5" guard off the bench, can play the 1, 2, or the 3. Great defender. That's the exact guy you want in this plug and play roster off the bench, because when you have so many guards, you got to have some versatility.
Yeah.
And Champagnie, he's been a knockdown shooter this year.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he hasn't. I'm surprised he's not in the 3-point contest.
Actually, I shouldn't
this
say Barnes off the bench. I should say Keldon Johnson. That's the one coming off the bench. Barnes has been starting for them this
Yeah,
season.
we were questioning who was going to be the odd man out here. Barnes, Keldon Johnson,
Johnson, though,
KG.
13 and a half off the bench is still nothing to be ashamed of. That's a really strong.
We were running. It was
season.
him, Vassell, Champagnie, and Barnes. One of those guys could be the odd man out, and it's Keldon Johnson because of his versatility. Again,
yeah. Luke Cornett hasn't been bad for them either. 7-6, coming over from the Celtics. He's been pretty nice. Pretty nice addition.
No, he's a bigger loss than Al Horford and Kristaps Porzingis. Way bigger loss.
Yeah. He's been great because remember when Wembanyama got hurt, he was the guy they had to plug in to play there.
You know who the vet on this team is, Nick?
I was just looking at the roster. Is Bismack Biyombo the veteran?
It is Bismack Biyombo.
Yeah, I wish I didn't. I wish I didn't.
Charlotte Hornets legend.
He's only 33. Wow, good for him.
It's crazy, right? You feel like he's been in the NBA for 15 years.
Yeah,
because he has been.
15 years.
He got in here early. He got drafted in 2011. This is his 14th NBA season.
God bless Bismack Biyombo. Yeah, that's crazy to think. Him and Harrison Barnes the exact same age. I would never have guessed that.
And Nick, we got to mention Stephon Castle too.
Yes, of course.
Who's turned out to be a great second guard for them. And De'Aaron Fox, even though he's doing great, he may be the odd man out here. If they want to do a Giannis swap here, can you imagine Giannis in San Antonio?
Yeah.
You send Fox and a bunch of the kids with picks.
I don't know how you guard that team with him and Wemby. I think it's impossible.
Imagine it's a possibility. You have Stephon Castle at the 1.
Mm-hmm.
Then you take one of the kids, say, and any of the
maybe Harper.
I think they would send Harper.
You think Harper would be in that deal?
I think So
I think we're at the work. They probably would have to have. Yeah,
Keldon Johnson. Maybe they put up Champagnie in there too. I don't know. He's young too. But yeah, can you imagine a team where it's Stephon Castle at your 1, let's say Devin Vassell at your 2, you have Champagnie at your 3, Wemby at your 5, and Giannis at your 4?
Yeah,
how do you beat that team?
Defensively,
how do you beat that team?
I'm placing a Spurs future championship on right there and then that happens.
So this is in the offseason. Spurs are a tricky one because Giannis, he's an international guy. Like, I don't think he minds going to the small market, being a buck his entire life, coming from Athens too. That's tricky. This is a sleeper team to get him in the offseason.
Is that a small market though, San Antonio?
Technically it is. How many people live in San Antonio?
Texas. Yeah, I know, but I figure with Texas.
Yeah, but think about it. It's the third big. Again, it's the best team. Listen, yeah, it's historically it is the best team in Texas by far. Better than the Rockets, better than the Mavs, who are both multiple-time NBA champions.
Yeah, which
but it's also the smallest. It's the smallest population. It's smaller than Houston, smaller than Dallas.
That's true. Like I said, it'd be crazy if he goes to San Antonio. That'd be an unbelievable duo of him and Wemby, and then you add the rest of the players like Castle, Vassell, Champagnie. Like, that'd be an insane unit next year if they were to get that done in the offseason. But hell, they could win the championship this season. They have that good of a team to maybe win the championship this year. And like I mentioned, the Thunder, while they've been having a great year, SGA right now, the leading MVP vote getter going into the second half, they really have not had any answer to stopping this Spurs team over the 4 games that they played this season. So I'm really hoping that that's the Western Conference Finals this season. I think that would be an incredible matchup of those two teams met in the Western Conference Finals, because the Thunder would have to beat the team that they haven't been able to beat all year, and they have to do it 4 times in one series to get the job done. But if that's going to happen, Johnson, they have to get through another couple tough teams in the Western Conference. Uh, Denver, finally gave back Nikola Jokic a couple weeks ago. They are currently the third seed in the Western Conference at 35-20. Not far behind them are the Houston Rockets at 33-20. Not far behind them are the Lakers at 33-21. And then it's the Timberwolves at 34-22. But one of the surprising teams in the Western Conference, I think maybe you and I might agree on the most surprising team in the West. It's got to be Phoenix, right? After the implosion we thought that was going to happen during the summer of them getting rid of all these players, they are right now a half game or a game and a half back of the Timberwolves from making the playoffs and avoiding the play-in. But they're 32-23. They've had a tremendous first half of the season.
Did you see this coming?
No,
I don't think I did either.
I don't think the Suns thought this was going to come either.
It's just crazy how upside down this NBA season really has been.
Yeah.
I don't even know where to start with the Suns.
Devin Booker, obviously, we knew he was going to do what he was doing. But I think the biggest reason they've gotten to this point, Dillon Brooks is having a career renaissance season. Like a career year for sure. 21 points a game for him on the season. He's really, he was one of the players that were involved in the Kevin Durant trade from Houston. And it's just been working wonders for Phoenix because he's really just stepped in there, has played a big role. Grayson Allen, too, has also had a tremendous year. He's averaging 17 points a game.
We should have seen this coming because these are grown men.
Yeah. Colin Gillespie.
All these guys are 29, 30 years old. So I'm not on paper, it's crazy, but like when you think about it, maybe not.
Well, remember last year when the Rockets drafted Colin Gillespie? There was a guy that you and I both saw at Villanova. You knew the talent was there, and when they traded him and the Rockets traded him, you thought, okay, maybe this could work out at Phoenix because he's going to get a little bit more chances to play there. He's done pretty good for the Suns this year as well. He's averaging 13 a game. Mark Williams has done nicely there. Jalen Green is still trying to battle back their injuries, so we'll see what happens with him. But they've got a well-rounded team that looks destined to make the playoffs this season. And, I don't think it's going to be easy now to get them out in the playoffs if they get there. They obviously right now would have to play in the play-in game if the season ended today, but they're not far behind, as I mentioned, trying to get that last spot in the West behind the Timberwolves. And then to round out the rest of the conference, it's Golden State is the 8th seed. Portland, surprisingly, is the 9th seed, which I also thought was pretty surprising. I know they're under 500, but
we didn't even talk about what happened to them beginning of the year.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a second. And then the Clippers, last team into the playoffs at 26-28. They obviously traded away James Harden and Ivica Zubac that we mentioned earlier on. There have been rumblings that maybe they trade Kawhi in the offseason. I don't know how true that is. We'll see what happens with them. But you were alluding to what happened to Portland at the beginning of the season. We obviously did not really get to talk about that because they lost their head coach before the season even began. It was only, 2 games into the year when that happened?
Yeah, Chauncey Billups, notorious gambler who does not take the game seriously.
Him and Malik Beasley.
Staying on his legacy.
There was somebody else, right?
He's no longer be remembered as the hero of 2004. He's remembered as that guy that gambled his career away.
Who was in that again? It was Beasley, Billups, and somebody else, right?
I'm pretty sure it was it wasn't Gilbert, right? I know he got questioned.
No, it was Terry Rozier,
Rashad McCants,
Chauncey, and Malik Beasley was, rumored, but I don't think he's technically been arrested or something yet because I think he just signed with Bad Bunny's Puerto Rican team today, if I'm not mistaken. Something crazy like that. I don't know. They lost their head coach before the season even began, and yet they're in the playoffs right now. The season, or in the play-in, I should say, if the season ended today. And it's really a true testament to Tiago Splitter, who crazy enough is the head coach right now of this team.
Popovich disciple.
Yeah, Popovich must be loving the fact that these disciples have been doing wonders. I mean, Mitch Johnson in San Antonio, and now this with Portland. Deni Avdija, of course, 25 points a game. He's going to be an all-star this year. Incredible season for him. Shaedon Sharpe has really taken another big step, 21 points a game. The guy you and I saw a lot during his college days, Donovan Clingan, averaging a double-double on the season. I was
about to say, this guy is the reason for the catalyst. He's the catalyst right here.
Yeah, how about Caleb Love off the bench?
He's almost 11-11 with 2 blocks a game on
Yeah.
67% from the field. Block and a half to be exact. He's doing great.
They have veteran presence in guys like Drew Holiday and Jeremy Grant as well. It's a nice, well-rounded team that I would like to see in the play-in. I think they want to be I think they would, if they had to play Golden State in the first round in the play-in, I think that provides an interesting matchup for Golden State. I don't think it's going to be as easy to knock them out. This Portland team can battle with some of the best.
And we got to talk about the bottom of the Western
Yeah,
Conference
the
here,
bottom's
because
really bad.
man, this is bad.
Memphis is in tank mode. They're going to trade Ja Morant in the offseason, probably. They didn't get to deal him at the deadline because no one wanted to trade a lot of assets for him. Dallas is still in the rebuilding stages. They traded away Anthony Davis, as we mentioned, but Cooper Flag at least looks like an absolute stud. He's probably going to win Rookie of the Year. I'd be stunned if he didn't. Utah is Utah. They made the big trade for Jaren Jackson. And then the Pelicans and the Kings are just awful.
Want to hear a fun fact about the Kings?
Go ahead.
Do you know when's the last time they won a game?
Was it like Thanksgiving?
No, it's not that bad.
It feels like it though. 14 in a row. It might as
January 16th.
Oh my goodness.
It's been a whole month.
Oh my goodness.
It's gonna be over a month by the time the All-Star break is over.
Yeah, I don't know what.
We have to talk about Zion too, by the way.
Do we have to?
We have to, because listen, this is a guy. He's in his 7th year in the NBA, and he can't stay on the court. I mean, he's playing 40 games this year.
Every single season.
This is a guy that's supposed to be beginning his prime, and he's just putting up 21-6. Cam Thomas off in street clothes could put up 21-6.
He has been, yeah.
This guy who was the prince that was promised for decades. He's supposed to be the next LeBron. He's supposed to be the next Jordan. He's supposed to be the next Kobe. He's supposed to be the next whoever.
In the offseason.
I mean, listen, it's crazy because this guy's he's like Evan Mobley. We call him 18-8. Like, oh yeah, solid 18-8. But Evan Mobley never had this hype. Evan Mobley never had like, oh yeah, he's like the second coming out of college. Zion had that hype, and this is what his 1, 2. Yeah, he missed a season entirely.
Yep.
7th year in the NBA.
I think the best thing going for the Pelicans is that, Derek Queen has looked like he's going to look like a stud player. He leads them in a couple of categories, rebounds and assists, which is crazy to think he leads the team.
By the way, Nick, for Zion, he has played in he's supposed to have been played in 7. This is his 7th season, right?
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of his 7th season, he's going to have 574 career games he could have participated in, right?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe this is unfair. How many games do you think he's participated in so far?
As a percentage?
Give me percentage. Give me a number.
What was the number you said originally? 570?
At the end of the year, it's supposed to be 574.
Okay. I would guess 375.
287.
Oh my god, I was not even close.
This guy, if they shut him down for the rest of the year, will be sub 50% in games played. He's played. Really I'm sorry. He's played in 254 games. My bad. So it's less than 50% of games he's eligible for. He's missed as many games as he has played in the NBA so far. Max contract, by the way. Max contract.
I truly think he's going to get traded in the summer.
And of course, there's the off. We don't have to go into this, but there's the off the court shenanigans too. I could go into that.
With Zion?
Yeah.
I don't know if there's anything new that's happened that I'm missing.
But just in general.
Okay. Well,
remember, Trey Murphy now averages more points per game on.
Yeah,
Pelicans. He's putting up 20. He's putting up 22-6.
That's why I think he might get traded. I really think I feel like they're going to look at the team and say, listen, he hasn't played a lot. Like, we're paying him all this money. The only reason he wouldn't get traded is because is a team going to take on that money. That's the problem. Because you're running a lot of risk by doing it. Yeah, remember the days when we wanted to make the Duke 3? bring it back
Wanted
on the Knicks.
Zion. I never wanted Cam Reddish, by the way. I never wanted
Well,
him.
we had him.
We had him. I never wanted him.
Yeah, one of the biggest what ifs in the NBA history, in my opinion. Yeah, Cam Reddish. Oh man. Um, any biggest surprise or take or letdown from the Western Conference that we didn't talk about before we move on?
I mean, just kind of looking at it from start to finish. I mean, it's just the blatant tanking too. Like the Jazz, it's a team that they do not have to tank. They own plenty of other futures thanks to their GM Danny Ainge, who got bored over
Um,
in Boston and wanted to go rebuild the rebuild the Jazz.
what about the trade deadline? I know we got into a lot of the trades mostly on the show. Was there any trades that we didn't talk about that you wanted to discuss, or do you think we covered
Uh,
pretty much every one?
we pretty much covered everything. If anything you want to mention, please be my guest.
There's not one that I see that we didn't cover that I think needs to be discussed about. Obviously, I should also talk about the news with Chris Paul today retiring from the NBA. Really travesty what happened to him.
Yeah, the
Um,
Clippers are they are
yeah,
forever forbidden from winning a ring now. They just did
yeah,
him
that
absolutely
was
dirty.
really tough to see that happen. Oh yeah, I guess there was the Kaminga and Porzingis swap that happened with Golden State and
Yeah,
Atlanta.
and let's talk about Golden State being a poverty franchise for a second there, where they're going on social media saying, "Oh yeah, he's someone in his camp took too much food."
Yes,
This
I was
is
about to say it
a
was someone in his family took so much food.
multi-billion-dollar franchise saying
Yes,
this. Oh yeah, by the way, Jonathan, I know you're supposed to be one of our top prospects, a future of this franchise. Your brother or whoever it is, your brother, your friend, your sister, your mother, whoever it is,
they're taking too much food.
they're taking too many chicken tenders. I know. We made $340 million last year, but those 99-cent chicken tenders are gonna put us. They're gonna make us bankrupt. I know we're gonna throw half them out, throw them in the dumpster anyway. It's food waste, whatever. But
But
don't take any. And even
Kings
Steph had to
announced
recognize the ridiculousness of it. He apologized on Instagram on behalf of the Warriors.
we
Craziness.
I do have NBA news. Maybe not, breaking because it's a team that's not gonna make the playoffs. Zach Levine out the rest of the year for the Sacramento
Oh,
Kings.
this goes into our tanking mode,
Yeah,
and you
yeah,
know
yeah.
what?
But in
They were
fairness,
tanking already.
he's getting surgery, so it's not like them just sitting him for no reason. Like he's actually
Yeah,
getting
yeah,
surgery.
yeah, yeah.
But
Whatever you
it
want to
doesn't
say.
matter. I know. It kind of it was funny you said that because it really reminded me what happened with Nick Castellanos' story from the MLB, where he got
You
benched
ever
in a
get
game.
fired from a team?
He got benched during a game this season, last season, because he got taken out of the game by his manager, and he said, "All right, I'm going to open up a beer." It's just like crazy stuff like that. That makes me laugh. Like some of these players getting fired or traded, or like just because of like the dumbest reasons ever. It's so funny. It's so funny. We'll see if Castellanos. We'll talk about the MLB in a couple weeks time. But yeah, I just wanted to bring that up too because it was just so funny when I read that earlier today. But anyway, Johnson. Now let's go into this NBA All Star Weekend before we preview the second half of the season and wrap this show up tonight. First, let's talk about the rosters going in this week. Obviously, there are three different teams for this NBA All Star game. You have the USA Stars, you have the USA Stripes, and then you have the Team World. On the Stars team, you have Scotty Barnes, Devin Booker, Kate Cunningham, Jalen Duran, Anthony Edwards, Chet Holmgren, Jalen Johnson, and Tyrese Maxey. They are coached by JB Bickerstaff. For the USA Stripes, you have Jalen Brown, Jalen Brunson, Kevin Durant, De'Aaron Fox, who replaces Giannis Antetokounmpo, Brandon Ingram, who's replacing Steph Curry, LeBron, Kawhi Leonard, Donovan Mitchell. On that team, coached by Mitch Johnson of the San Antonio Spurs. And then for Team World, it's Denny Avdija, Luka Doncic, Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, Norman Powell, Pascal Siakam, Alperen Sengun, who's replacing SGA in this game. I just had those rosters. I lost it for a second. One moment. Karl Anthony Towns and Victor Wembanyama and Pascal Siakam, coached by Darko Rajakovic, right? I think I pronounced that right. He's the Raptors coach. All those coaches deserving
Yep.
of a All Star appearance this week after what they've done with their rosters in the first half. Um, Looking at this format, obviously it's a different, type of feeling this year for the All Star game. with these 3 different teams. They have the format in terms of scheduling as well. Do you have any takeaway from how they're doing it this year?
Yeah, I mean it's stupid, and I don't agree with
Yeah, I
any
don't
of
like it
this.
either. I
It's
don't like it either.
it's a dying. This is a dying game, and the only way we're gonna fix
All
this
the
is
All-Star
you have
games,
to give it. You literally have to make it East versus West, and winner gets home court advantage in the finals, regardless of
it's
record.
what
That's
the
how you
MLB did.
change this.
Right.
That's how you change this and make it worthwhile. Because
The MLB
then
always
actual
had it
contenders are
right,
going to try.
where they had the AL and the NL, the winner gets home field advantage. That was always the right way to do it, and then they got rid
You
of it.
incentivize them.
Yeah, and right, whether it's doing that or doing what they do with the NBA Cup, maybe like you get money if you win the game. Like
But
I
here's
think
the
that
thing: the NBA
I
Cup is
think
a little bit
right,
different because you have guys on the roster that aren't making a
right,
lot of
that don't
money.
make that money. I think what they still get a cash prize for the, but it's a donation, right? That they do for the All Star game now.
Yes, it's a
I think they
donation.
donate to a charity that they pick or something.
Yes.
I don't remember, but yeah, we all know what's gonna happen. There's gonna be no defense played. They're gonna say that there's gonna be defense played. There really will hardly be. There may be like 1 or 2 defensive plays that happen in the entirety of the game. You're right. The All Star games, unfortunately, for every single sport, are just a dying breed. I mean, the Pro Bowl was an absolute joke. They're playing flag football with backups that shouldn't even make the Pro Bowl. The MLB All
Kevin
Star
Stefanski
game,
got fired, and he had 2 Pro Bowl
yeah,
QBs
I
on
mean,
his
the MLB
roster.
All
Makes
Star game
sense.
is effectively still the best All Star game left because the players are still going to play in it, but it's not like there's any incentive to it. It's just
And
okay. We're
remember,
just going to play
Dwayne
this
Wade
game.
ruined the slam dunk contest too.
Yeah,
No one
I
wants to
think.
talk about that. Why the slam dunk contest is bad is because Dwayne Wade was an awful judge.
Yeah, yeah. Aaron Gordon was he was robbed. He was robbed. I want to kind of do that first when we before we like talk about the All Star Saturday because as much as I love the slam dunk contest, like there's not really any big name. Like it's just not a big name contest this season. It's guys that
Even
you know.
guys like Mac McClung, guys in and out of the G
Yeah, even
League,
he's not doing it.
aren't doing it anymore because it's become a joke. And
Yeah,
it's because Dwayne
the
Wade
headliner
ruined
is
the event.
Jackson Hayes, which goes to show you. But for you and I, watching college basketball, you see Chase Richardson, the former standout at Michigan State, Carter Bryant from Arizona. I don't remember where Kishad Johnson went. I'm gonna love with you. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head where.
I do not
what college
remember where he went.
I'd have to look that up. But those are our 4 contestants. It's Kishad Johnson, Chase Richardson. You as well have Carter Bryant and Jackson Hayes. I'll try to look up odds real quick to see who is the favorite.
I mean, I'm just taking Jackson Hayes. I mean, it doesn't really matter because this doesn't matter.
He was on San Diego State and then transferred to Arizona. Kashad.
There we go.
So he and Carter Bryant, I believe, were teammates. Do they have slam dunk odds?
I mean, if they do, it doesn't really matter because it's rigged
It
anyway.
probably will not matter. I think right now Carter Bryant's the favorite. Believe it or not.
Yeah, I could not. I couldn't tell you. I really.
Yeah, I
couldn't.
couldn't tell
I
you
mean,
either.
I'm gonna go with Jackson Hayes only because I feel like he'll maybe
Honestly,
play for something.
Yeah,
He'll try maybe. I don't know.
I'll just go Jason Richardson because I kind of the Jason Richardson family arc. I kind of want to just maybe see
Legacy.
Yeah, because obviously Jason Richardson won a dunk contest, did he not?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, I mean, why not? That might be would that be the first father son duo to win a dunk contest?
I would guess so.
I would think so, right?
That's my assumption.
All right. I'll go Jason Richardson as my pick. He's got the longest odds to win it on Saturday night. I think you and I might do this one quickly because there's obviously maybe bias pick towards this next one. The Shooting Stars, you have Team All-Star, which is Scotty Barnes, Chet Holmgren, and NBA legend Richard Hamilton. Great to see him playing. Jalen Johnson, Con Knipple, and Corey Maggette representing Team Cameron. A shout out to Duke University. Team Harper, this is a fun one. Dylan Harper, Ron Harper Jr., and Ron Harper, the NBA legend. Shout out former Nick. And then it's Team Knicks. Jalen Brunson, Karl-Anthony Towns, Allen Houston representing Team Knicks in the Shooting Stars. We're both picking Team Knicks, I'm assuming, right?
Yep, I think that's the bias one.
Yeah, it's just the bias one. If they weren't in it, I would love to see the Harper team win it.
Oh yeah, absolutely, a lot of talent.
That's the if the Knicks can't win it, I want Team Harper to win it.
That is fair. I respect that.
So the obvious, best thing to look forward to, I think, in my opinion, going into this week is the 3-point contest. A very interesting wrinkle that I saw in this 3-point contest, and I pointed this out to you yesterday. Damian Lillard, who hasn't played a single game this season, he was supposed to be out for the whole year. He's in this 3-point contest this upcoming Saturday. So he'll be participating with the likes of Devin Booker, Con Knipple, Tyrese Maxey, Donovan Mitchell, Jamal Murray, Bobby Portis Jr., and Norman Powell. I'll try to look up odds real quick for the 3-point contest. Who do you have as your winner? Is it winter?
I'm going with crazy eyes, Bobby Portis.
Mm.
It's not going to happen, but I'd love to see it happen. He's probably the lowest odds.
Probably has the longest odds. Yeah, plus 1,700.
It's going to happen, Bobby. I believe in you.
It's crazy that Damian Lillard is playing in this. I cannot believe he is playing in this. Right now, the leading favorite is Con Knipple at plus 380, followed by Lillard at 390. So it's close.
For a guy that hasn't played all years.
That's what I'm saying. It's kind of crazy that he's got the second best odds and he hasn't played a single game this year. I'm going to go Tyrese Maxey in this one. He has had I know you and I are not a big Sixers guy, obviously, where you don't like the Sixers.
Listen, he's got a lot.
He's had a tremendous season for Philadelphia.
Yeah, I never denied his talent either.
Yeah. He's been a big reason why, even though Embiid's missed a couple games this season, now Paul George, we forgot to mention also, he got suspended for drug use. I mean, it's still, Maxey's just been the most consistent guy for this team all season long. So it's really, impressive what he's done. And I would like to see him get some hardware from this weekend. The only hardware, hopefully, I get to see him have. So I'll give him the 3-point contest in this one. And then, Johnson, let's go into the All-Star weekend. We're not going to predict each game for the All-Star week. I'm just going to ask you, who you think out of the 3 teams is going to win the All-Star game, and who's going to be the MVP?
It's Team World, obviously, right?
Maybe.
It has to be Team World, and it has to be Wemby. That's the only obvious answer here, right?
Maybe. Do I play it? I mean, on paper, Team World probably has to be the favorite. I just don't see how they aren't. I kind of want to just not pick them, just do something fun. I'll go with the USA Stars. And give me Kate Cunningham as my MVP.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't pick the Stripes. That's for sure.
No, the Stripes have they have the oldest team and not the best team on paper, especially now with Steph and Giannis not playing.
Yeah, listen. Well, Giannis wasn't going to play.
Giannis was on that team, but he got replaced for De'Aaron Fox. Who was
yeah.
They just don't have the size that are going to compete.
That's
at least on the Stars, you have some players that do have size to maybe compete with that team.
And Jalen Duren's allowed to play, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
That's a big tidbit. Even though he got suspended, that's a big tidbit.
Yeah, so I'll go with the Stars, and I'll pick Kate Cunningham as my MVP for the All-Star game. Now, Johnson, as we wrap up this show, let's go into the second half preview. Who do you have winning the Eastern Conference, the Western Conference, and who do you have in the NBA Finals?
Oh, man. Well, I think at this point, you have to pick Detroit, only by basis of the 40-20 rule. If the 40-20 rule is actually real, we're going to find out again this season. Out of the Western Conference, I'm going to pick the Spurs, even though, I know I picked the Rockets earlier in the year, and I still think they can challenge this team, or challenge the other teams in the West. I'm going to go with the Spurs at the moment because they are hot, and Julian Champagnie, St. John's alum, shout out. By the way, there's never been a season in the NBA without a St. John's basketball player.
You looked this stat up yourself.
I did look this up myself. I did do some research because I never saw it before. And, some guys doing a lot of heavy lifting there. Cough cost Ron Artest and cough cost Maurice Harkless doing a lot of heavy lifting there in the 2000s.
Yeah, a lot of heavy lifting.
I'm going to go with Rockets, and I'm going to go with, I'm going to go with Pistons and Spurs.
Okay.
What do you got, Nick?
I mean, my heart wants to say the Knicks, but I don't want to jinx them. I already picked them at the beginning of the season, so I feel like if I double down on it, then they're really screwed. So
this time it will be different.
I can't do it. My magic already, unfortunately for you, did not pay off in the Super Bowl this past Sunday. I'll go with the Cavs in the Eastern Conference. That's the team that you originally had as your pick in the East. I think the James Harden move is going to be really big for them. going
Yeah,
in the
it's a
second
spicy
half.
pick. I could see it happening.
I'll go with Cleveland in the East, and in the Western Conference, I'll stick with OKC. I'll just stick with the defending champions in that, and I'll have OKC to go back to back.
OKC to go
I think I
back
had
to
OKC. I
back.
think I had OKC as my champion as well when we picked earlier in the year. Go to double check that. I did.
Back
I
to
had
back
Thunder, Knicks, Thunder as
OKC.
my champion. So I'm sticking a little bit to what I did
No,
earlier in the
you're
year.
consistent. You're very consistent, so
Yeah,
can't
just
fault
a
you
little
there.
bit of a change up to try to help our Knicks at the end of the year. Hopefully. But Johnson, that does it for this week's edition of the All Gas No Break Sports Show. Going into the second half of the NBA season, anything you're looking forward to the most before we wrap this one up here tonight?
Take us home.
I will take us home. And as I mentioned in our last show, for Johnson and I, after tonight's show, I think the next time you and I are going to be recording will be is it the World Baseball Classic coming up? Is that the
Yes,
next
sir.
time so that will be the next time you and I will be going live. It will be for the World Baseball Classic. It will be the first time we talked about baseball since the conclusion of the World Series. It will be World Baseball Preview, our picks for the World Baseball Classic, and then after that, we get closer to March Madness, and we get closer to the start of the MLB season. I am looking forward to these next couple weeks here on the show. But for this show, that's going to do it for this week's edition of the All Gas No Break Sports Show. The first half of the NBA season has come to a conclusion. We now move on to the second half of the NBA season. Who will first off win this week's NBA All-Star game, as well as winning some of the NBA All-Star Saturday festivities? We'll have to find out and tune into the weekend. And then who's going to come out on top in the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference going into the NBA playoffs? When we get closer to playoff time and when the NBA season comes down to a conclusion, Johnson and I will be back on the NBA schedule. We'll recap the second half of the season and look forward to and preview the NBA postseason this upcoming spring going into the summer. For Nicholas Pavona and Andrew Johnson, this has been the All Gas No Break Sports Show. Have a great rest of your week.